in this unit. GDSR has everything to do with mortgage affordability, whether or not you can actually afford the home. Okay? The gross debt service ratio, that's what GDSR stands for, gross debt service ratio, is what financial institutions or banks use to decide whether or not you can afford a house. They will not just approve you guys, they will just not. Okay, they will actually look at your financial situation. It compares the total cost of your monthly mortgage payment, your property taxes, and your heating to your gross monthly income from all sources. The GDSR must not exceed 32%. So that's like the magic number for GDSR. That's like our line that we cannot cross. Okay? To calculate the GDSR, we use the following formula. I'm going to use a different color for the monthly part because that's what a lot of students forget to account for. You take your monthly mortgage payment, then you take your monthly property taxes, which we're going to figure out in a bit what that means. And then you take your monthly heating bill. This is an estimated bill, right? Like approximately how much has this house been paying to be heated. You take that and then you divide it by the combined monthly income. Okay? I want you to make sure you know that the top should have brackets around it. I would like you to first add up these numbers, then you divide it by the monthly income. And at the end, we multiply it by 100. Watch this, right? So your answer is going to be a percentage. Go under GDSR and just add a percent symbol, because as soon as you multiply by 100, it turns into a percentage. They threw a curveball at us last year. They gave us the weekly income of a person. And students went, oh, weekly times 4. And that's actually wrong. This is grade 10 stuff. We thought it was very unfair. But if you want to go from, can I do this at the top corner here? I'm gonna use this little bit of space here. If you want to go from weekly to monthly, because you need monthly for this to work. Okay, that's why weekly doesn't work. What you do is you multiply by 52 weeks and then you divide by 100. Sorry, by 12. Yikes. Divide by 12. Maybe let's extend this and just say you're going to take the number, whatever the weekly income is, you multiply it by 52, and then you divide it by 12. That's how you do that. I would have this next to GDSR somewhere. Okay? Just prop the door open a bit. So that's how you do it. If it ever happens, you know how to deal with that. So just a quick example. If you make $500 weekly, you would go 500 times 52, because there's 52 weeks in a year. That's how much you make in a year. You divide that by 12. That's the equivalent of making $2,166.67 a month. That's all I'm doing there. Okay, keep going. Monthly housing costs must not be greater than 32% of the monthly gross income. If the GDSR is greater than 32, the bank will not approve, okay? Will not approve for the mortgage you applied for. Can I just ask, I'm gonna ask you to in this box for GDSR, I will say this. GDSR if this is your 32% line, if you calculate it and it's above, that is bad. If you're below 32%, that is good. I would strongly suggest you add that to right under this formula. Okay, I'm going to highlight that. So if you calculate someone's Gdsr, guys, and you get 33%, 33% is more than 32. That is bad. You're not going to get approved. If you're just under 32%, that is good. You are going to be approved. Okay? And here is again. Look at this pie chart here. Let's imagine this whole pie chart is your income. What the banks are essentially saying is that only 1/3, right? 1/3 of your income should be going into housing, no more. So mortgage payment, property taxes, and heating costs, just 1/3 should be going into housing. So can you write housing on the margins, housing? The monthly housing costs. Mortgage is the loan towards real estate. Make sure you write this down, right? The amortization period is longer than a regular loan. Property taxes. All home or condominiums have to pay taxes to their local municipality. Okay, it pays for infrastructure, road maintenance, snow removal, waste collection, education, and more. Okay, so property taxes, everybody has to pay it if you own it. Heating costs, of course, most houses are heated with natural gas or electricity. Both are provided by Manitoba Hydro. Okay. Next. If the question ever asks you what's the maximum housing cost that you can afford, right? The maximum housing cost that someone can afford, you use that formula right there. It's only 32% of your monthly income. That's all you can afford on housing in general. If someone asks you, I'll use a different color for this one because if someone asks you what's the maximum monthly mortgage that you can afford, then you would use this formula right here, which is a little bit longer. So you basically say monthly income times 32%, right? Subtract the heating, subtract the property taxes. So you basically are left with how much of that can be your actual mortgage payment. Okay? So before I continue, this is how important this is. I'm going to stop here. I'm going to ask you to right now grab your study sheets. You might have to change it. I don't care. Put this formula down right here. Right? The very top one. And the two formulas that are way at the bottom of this page that I have in yellow and in orange. I want you to copy them down right now because you're going to need them to be successful. Do that. All right. Let's keep going. I hope you have those formulas down. Let's use them. Let's see if you can pick the right one on your formula sheets. Study sheet, I should say. Example 1. The Oliviers have a combined family income of $5,800. Okay, I don't know if you remember. Do you remember gross and net from grade 10? Gross income versus net income? You don't have to really worry about it. They're always going to give you the gross income, which is how much you make without taxes or anything being taken off. Okay, but they make $5,800 monthly. So let's highlight some of the things here. $5,800. It doesn't say monthly, so let's just assume we're going to insert that monthly. I should have told you that, right? So there's a combined family income of $5,800 monthly. what is the maximum they could spend on housing? So if it just asks you that, so maximum housing. Okay, first of all, we need to make sure, is this monthly? I just told you this is monthly. So we'll take the 5,800 and we'll multiply that by 0.32. That's what your formula calls for. So that's 1856. So 1,856. This is per month, by the way. If they gave you the yearly income, obviously you would either divide it by 12 at this point or you divide it by 12 right away, but this is the monthly, okay? The Oliviers estimate that the houses they're looking for have approximately a cost of $180 per month on heating, and that the property taxes are $3,800 per year. What is the maximum monthly mortgage payment they can afford? So maximum payment would be income multiplied by 0.32 minus heat minus property taxes. We know what the income is. It's 5,800 times 0.32. The heating is $180 per month. But what about the property taxes? It says per year. Annually per year. We can't have that, so we're gonna go ahead and divide that by 12 to give us our monthly amount. So you can't mix up yearly and monthly, okay? That is the key here. So that is the equivalent of $316.17 per month. So we take away 316.17 cents off of that. We know that 5,800 times 0.32 is 1856. We subtract 180, subtract 316.17 from it. So we end up with 1359.83. So they're reverse mortgage calculators that say, oh, if I have $1,400 or $1,359 to spend every month on the mortgage, what is the actual house price that I can afford? One can do that. We won't be doing that in this course, but this is the maximum mortgage payment. So if you do mortgage calculations like we did earlier in this lesson, if your mortgage payment comes up to be higher than this, you would not be able to afford it. Okay, this is the highest mortgage payment that you can afford. Okay, so I will leave you after this example. I'm done. I would like you to practice one more after. But this is the Gdsr itself. This is like that big formula that I started off with. Xavier is wanting to buy a house with an annual property tax of $3,600. Highlight that. The heating costs are estimated to be $250 per month. Highlight the $250. Note that it is already a monthly amount, so you're fine. He looks up an online calculator and estimates that the mortgage payment, the monthly mortgage payment, is $1,450. And his annual income is $55,000. So watch what's going to happen here. convert to monthly. Okay, so that's something that you have to take into account. You have to convert everything into monthly amounts. So here's the GDSR. The GDSR calls for your mortgage payment plus your heating cost. Your heating cost is $250. Plus, it also calls for property taxes. Are property taxes in monthly amounts? They're not. They're annual amounts. See that? So this is going to be it's going to look a little crazy here, but I'm going to divide that chunk there by 12 because I want that in a monthly amount. I'm going to clean it up in a bit. All of that is going to be divided by, what do we divide it by? By income, right? It's 55,000 here. I can't have that, so I'm going to go 55,000 divided by 12 also. And once I'm done all of that, I'm going to multiply it by 100. So let's clean that up a bit. I'm going to do this right away. 3,600 divided by 12 is $300. Okay, so this is 1,450 plus 250 plus 300, a nice round 300, right? Divided by, I'm going to figure out 55,000 divided by 12. That's 4583.33. And I multiply all of this by 100 when I'm done. Let's figure out what the top is separately. Let's add that all up. 1,450 plus 250 plus 300. The top gives me $2,000 exactly. The bottom, I already know it's just 4583.33. Multiply that by 100. So let's go ahead and do that. 2,000 divided by 4583.33 gives me 0.4363 and so forth. I'm going to multiply that by 100. That's 43.64%. That is the GDSR for Xavier. Okay. Is it likely that Xavier will be approved for a mortgage? The answer is no. But you have to say this, because the GDSR is above 32%. So this is kind of like you have to mention the 32%. Just like with expected value, you have to go, is it positive or negative? You have to mention the 32% if you want the full marks. How can Xavier reduce his GDSR? Assume that he would like to buy a house in the same price range. This one I'm just going to ask you to copy for today, and that is it. He can increase income. If your income increases, houses become more affordable to you. So you can either co-sign. You can get somebody else to co-sign with you. So if your dad, for example, co-signs the house, his income is now put into the mix. Okay? Or you can get a second job. But by the way, you can't just go and get another job today and be like, hey, look, bank, I have another job, I have more income. You have to kind of do it for 6 months or a year. Next is negotiate a lower interest rate. Or you can lengthen the term or amortization. Think about the formula, right? What are some things that we have control over? We don't have control over heating. Please don't say like I'm just gonna turn down the temperature in the house, because this is something that's already predetermined. You can't change that. You cannot change the property taxes. The government sets that. So what you have control over is the mortgage. You know what? I forgot something. Increased down payment. Increase the down payment. Because if you increase your down payment, your monthly mortgage payment will go down, right? So you can change that. So I'm going to ask you to just try. Let's try page 12 there, that example. I'm just going to leave you with that. Page 12. Excuse me. And make sure you update your study sheet.